Right now, never before seen video of state investigators raiding a Kirkland pharmacy that makes weight loss drugs. The state found the business is cutting safety corners while producing knockoffs of Ozempic and Zepbound, posing a serious risk of harm. As Chris Ingalls reports in his series, Selling Skinny, despite the scathing inspection last year, the company selling those GLP-1s is still in business.
A team of investigators from the Washington State Department of Health swooped into this Kirkland business park last year.
State Department of Health, and we're recording this visit
For what they called an unannounced inspection.
Hi, what's your name?
What's your name?
I'm Mike Lamb. I'm with the Department of Health.
Okay.
Employees of Aequita Pharmacy called it a raid. Some of those same employees had tipped investigators that management hid illicit products in this warehouse a few doors down from Aequita Pharmacy's main operation. They did that to evade inspectors, according to State Health Department records. This video, obtained by the King 5 investigators through a public records request, shows the warehouse manager denying knowledge of that.
As far as I know, there's nothing that from the pharmacies that entity. This is just storage for the packing supplies and stuff like that. Okay.
Well, that's not necessarily true. I can tell you that that's not packing.
In the refrigerator right next to him, investigators found a large stash of peptide base powder, the active ingredient used to make one version of GLP-1 diet medication.
Semaglutides and...
In bags labeled semaglutide, investigators found peptide base powder shipped from China, even though Aequita does not yet have a license to import the product. A manager later admitted that's because it's 6 to 9 times cheaper than the American-made peptide they'd stopped purchasing months earlier. A second team of state investigators hit Aequita's main pharmacy in Kirkland at the same time last year and uncovered many more violations, several of them in the clean room. That's the sterile lab where only licensed pharmacists are supposed to mix or compound the drugs. But investigators said non-pharmacists were observed performing compounding activities in the clean room.
They were letting a lot of people into the clean room who did not have any licenses.
Roxanne Elder was a University of Washington chemistry student hired by Aequita to work in the clean room, although she says she never compounded drugs. She now looks at her first experience in a lab environment as a shocking example of the wrong way to run a laboratory.
There should be a thorough investigation into their activities to make sure that it actually is safe and they're following regulations, because it doesn't sound like they are.
Not what I was signing up for.
The woman in this video is another employee, Jennifer Ingersoll, who did not want to be interviewed on camera, although she's allowed us to use her name and show her face.
I honestly feel like they were trying to cut corners any way they could.
She's seen here in the pharmacy during one of her assigned tasks, logging into a licensed employee's account so that day laborers can access patient information, a violation, to package medication for shipping.
Yeah, that is something super unprofessional.
As we've previously reported, Aequita managers scoured Home Depot parking lots to find temporary workers to package and ship medicines.
Do you have ID? No ID?
During their raid last year, investigators found 4 day laborers at Aequita. Records show one man was paid $50 a day. The state found so many violations that placed patients at a serious risk of harm. It issued a notice of immediate jeopardy that effectively shut the pharmacy down. Employees like Roxanne and Jennifer soon lost their jobs. Up to that point, Aequita was shipping GLP medications to up to 20,000 patients a day, labeled in these blue boxes under the brand name Mochi.
A number of providers actually have multiple state licenses.
Founded by Spokane native Myra Ahmad on the right, San Francisco-based Mochi is one of a number of startups nationwide that sell knockoff GLP-1 brands. Although Aequita's listed owner is pharmacist Nate Kenny, state records say it appears he is owner in name only, and employees tell King 5 it was Ahmad that directed the pharmacy to cut corners and costs at every level.
We do over 2,000 plus medications, and we really see ourselves as like a comprehensive primary care practice.
This entire industry has really sprung up in order to take advantage of a lot of money to be made.
The Partnership for Safe Medicines, a public health coalition, found that the U.S. Food and Drug Administration inspects less than a quarter of foreign GLP-1 peptides arriving in the U.S.
These ingredient suppliers, especially the ones in China, sometimes operate like they're beyond the law. You can see the change in how much it costs. What you can't see is how it's going to hurt you until it's too late.
The Better Business Bureau of San Francisco gives Mochi a D rating with 1,287 customer complaints on file, most over billing and refunds. But some patients reported they got the wrong GLP-1 dose and overdosed or got severely sick from their Mochi medication.
That's the most upsetting thing, is like people could have died and they're just not caring.